he stay in the background, or I know
You
he's.
know, not since he decided to part ways with the Lakers. Not too much, a little bit, but by and large, he is kind of stepped back into the shadows, at least for now. You don't know how long that's going to happen, but not much from him at all at this point, Scott.
Well, I think the longer they win, the more likely he'll remain uh, quiet. In the, I mean, what's he going to really
Oh
say?
yeah,
Not
I
much.
agree with you.
All right, let's move on to the other team that resides in the Staples Center called the Clippers. You've added Kawhi Leonard to the mix, and Paul George, and Doc Rivers is a championship caliber coach. Proved that in Boston. Are the Clippers finally starting to regain a good part of that LA market?
Well, I think that they definitely are. Uh, there's one addition to the Clippers that has made a huge difference, and that's the addition of Jerry West in player personnel. He's helped bring together some of these free agents that became Clippers. A terrific evaluator in talent. We always already know how great of a player Jerry West was with his career in the NBA, but for some reason he just knows how to spot great players. He can tell it when they first come into the league or when they're in college. He's always been a real hard worker at scouting. But he's even mentioned this last week that everybody on this team, and it's quite a compliment from Jerry because he doesn't pass out compliments too much, that everybody on this ball club really enjoys each other. There's not a one man show that's trying to emerge. He really loves that, and it's not unusual for the group of guys to get together and just kind of hang and enjoy each other's company. And then he feels like they've got a great owner, even though he's a multi-billionaire. Uh, Ballmer, who made his money in the software industry, is a great owner, and he's just a huge fan of the Clippers. Boy, they're lucky to have him pulling the strings with the financial abilities that they have now with the Clips. And Steve Ballmer has been a real plus. And like I said, Jerry West, he likes to stay in the background and just do his job. Has done a phenomenal job for the Clippers. He's done a great job wherever he's been, back all the way back to the Lakers, Jerry Buss
Right.
with the Warriors, even a few years ago in the NBA.
Well,
He's
don't
got it together.
well don't forget that here's a guy that was with Memphis with the Grizzlies, and they were a laughing stock, Chris. And all of a sudden, people start paying attention to the Grizzlies. I mean, the
You
Grizzlies.
are right.
Yeah. So you talk about his success with the Grizzlies. If you can win with the Grizzlies, my goodness, since you guys like to hand out gold medals every time you host an Olympics, he deserves one for that effort. On top of what you talked about with his Lakers success and the Warriors. But so let me ask you about Jerry West. Do you think he's having more fun with the Clippers than he's had with any other organization, knowing that the Clippers have been so bad for so long, and in recent years they've actually gone out there and made themselves watchable and relevant?
Sure seems like it. He was at one of our luncheons during the summer, and he talked about the various venues that he's been at and what his strengths are and how he feels about the NBA in general. But I think he's actually really enjoying his Clipper job right now. He seems like he's having more fun than ever before, really.
Yeah, it almost seems like that from a distance. As I get closer to that situation in a few weeks, and I get to meet more and more people, I'm sure I'll get some. I'll have some nice, pleasant conversation. But right now, you're my primary source of information out there. All right, we'll go on from the hard court to the diamond, where the Angels signed Anthony Rendon to a 7-year, $245 million contract. How much better will the Angels get with Rendon in the lineup? I know we've talked about an aging Albert Pujols, but you also have Mike Trout in the fold, and I have a feeling the Angels are anything but done this off season.
Well, about 32 or 33, and they're good. Rendon proved how good he was in the clutch, and even the regular season last year, leading the National League in RBIs and just the way he would hit batting average wise, and in clutch situations, driving in runs, uh, and playing a flawless third base throughout the playoffs. He's a good fielder too. Don't take his defense away from him. It's a major plus for the Angels to sign Anthony Rendon. No doubt about it. In his prime.
Well, let alone the fact that if he doesn't play a position on a given day, there's no crime in going out there and being a designated hitter either. You know, and that's a benefit to him changing leagues.
Well, that's something that I think the Angels will explore. But he's pretty good defensively. I don't know if you want to ever take him off the hot corner because he's just so good at it.
Yeah, but when you're going to have him for a while, who's to say every once in a while, give him a day off from the field, you move him in? I agree. You keep him there defensively, but it's certainly another option that a manager has to work with for sure. But, yeah, no, I think that was definitely a great signing for the Angels. And, of course, add to the excitement that you brought in Joe Madden, and who knows who else are going to add. And I'm sure that Brad Ausmus must be grinning right now. Why didn't I get this influx of talent? And whether or not he could have managed it in the first place, we'll never know. But the Angels are very aggressive, and they're bridging that gap, especially with the Houston Astros losing Garrett Cole the other day to the Yankees. And now that they won their World Series, I could see a bridging of the gap, Chris, with the Astros regressing, the Angels progressing, and it'll be interesting to see where the rest of that division goes. I mean, you have the Oakland A's who find a way to win games and get in the postseason. Don't go very far, but they're competitive. And, you know, of course, I believe you have the Texas Rangers there as well, who had a chance to get Rendon, but that blew up in their face. So it sounds like there's some pretty good times ahead for the Angels, Chris. Doesn't it?
Well, they're still trying to make a decision, Scott, on a catcher. They want to have the right guy behind the dish, and Joe Madden's even talked about how having the right man catching the pitching staff is so crucial. It's funny they're talking about having Maldonado in the mix. He was an Angel for a while and left, and now they're thinking about him coming back again. And he's a great catcher, good receiver. Can hit a little bit, not terrific, but that's not what they're worried about. But I think Joe Madden actually got a new lease on life coming back to the Angels. He had worked for him for so long and was the bench coach for Mike Scioscia for many, many years before he went to Tampa and then on to Chicago. But he looks like a kid again, but he's so happy. And can you blame him, especially now with the signing of Rendon to go along with Trout?
Well, he had a chance to look at Rendon firsthand. After all, the guy was in the National League, Chris, really.
Yeah.
No, not.
You better believe it. And like we said, I don't think you can ever underestimate or really talk too much about the person that drives in runs is so valuable. And that's Anthony Rendon.
Well, we'll just see what the Angels can do to shore up their pitching staff. If they can shore up their pitching staff, you know, I know it's early in the game, but I can easily see this team with these upgrades getting to 90 wins. Where that gets them is anybody's guess, but that would be just an educated assumption on my part. But again, we're still early on in the hot stove process, Chris. One other baseball note, then we're going to talk about some good business for an organization that you're president of, and I'm just proud to be of. So president and proud, we'll get to that in a moment. But the Dodgers are taking a very conservative approach, and they're getting heat for it by not signing a lot of players. What's your take on that?
Well, you can't really, we get back to management again. It's a business, and they think they're running it the right way. Andrew Friedman, who's the GM, with the blessing of ownership. They have a great farm system, Scott. Look at all the guys that came up from the minors that contributed to the Dodgers, not only the last 2-3 years, but even this last year. came up and actually produced and made the Dodgers winners in that National League West. They have had no problems getting to the World Series. And listen, if we had a magic formula between you and I on how to win the World Series once you get there, as consultants, they could open up the checkbook and write us whatever we wanted. That's the tough thing is when you get there, how do you close the door? They've definitely got the talent. I know they're thinking about it, but I don't blame them for not wanting to spend the house or trade away some of these great players that are in the minor leagues or that just come up to the big leagues for one or two people. They thought they had Garrett Cole in the fold. He's a Southern California kid.
Right.
Went to UCLA. But he'd always been a Yankees fan. And they even have pictures of him when he was a kid sitting in the stands. Once a Yankees fan, always a Yankees fan. Well, now he's a real Yankee. But that's by the wayside. The Dodgers thought they had a shot at him, and I guess offered right around that $300 million mark. He signed for $327, whatever.
Well, $324 million, a nine.
Yeah, and I shouldn't say change; it's big bucks. But I think he always wanted to be a Yankee, and the Dodgers, even though they gave it a shot, maybe they really didn't have any opportunity to sign him anyway in the long run.
Well, let's face it, Chris. $324 million, 9-year deal, 5-year opt out to play for a team that you're a fan of isn't a bad gig if you can get it. It really isn't. So let's go back to the Rendon thing for a moment. I know the Dodgers now haven't won a title since, 88, and they've won a lot of games during certain years, and they were certainly heavy favorites. Now, I know Southern California was heartbroken when Rendon burned the Dodgers, but does that cushion the blow for the region now that he's with the Angels?
I don't know if I understand the question.
All right, well, my question is okay, Rendon, a big factor of the Washington Nationals ousting the Dodgers in the postseason. So will there be, now that he's in Southern California, Chris, I don't think there will be, unless there's that big of a wide gap between the Dodgers and the Angels. You follow where I'm going with there? He's going to Southern California anyways, just not with the Dodgers. That's where I'm going with this, Chris.
Yeah, he's going to be with a SoCal team, and it seems like he's happy with it. And Artie Moreno, the owner of the Angels, is definitely happy. And I know Mike Trout is licking his chops. He's going to have somebody else in the lineup to help him maybe free up and get some better pitches to look at. But he's a SoCal kid now from a kid who was originally in Texas, and now he's in Orange County.
Yeah, it's a region thing. That's why I threw it your way, Chris. Hey, you know what? The Dodgers, if you can't beat them, join them, so to speak. But they beat them, and now you wonder whether they join him anyhow. But meanwhile, he's going across to your Southern California rival, but you still get to see the guy play. That's basically the gist of it.
In Southern California, I really like watching him play. I liked watching him with the Nationals in the playoffs. It was pretty special.
Okay, and now our last line of business is one where I'm going to let you take the floor a little bit more, Chris. I'll be flying out on January the 6th, 2020, to attend an event, which I've already been told, no denim, no problem. I'll have enough of a wardrobe where the denim will be used for 5 of the 6 days I'll be there, okay, to the incredible event that you are going to talk about right now, Chris Roberts.
Southern California Sports Broadcasters has been in existence for 63 years, and we're pretty proud of it. I'm the president. This is my 4th year, getting into number 5.